There's one final thing that looks different between here and here, which is that this border ends at around the edge of the text here, whereas in our template so far, the border is going to keep going until it reaches the edge, because the navigation elements go 100% of the width across, and so it reaches this point right before the padding of the footer element kicks in. So what we do about this depends on how critical this border width is to the designers. Let's talk about one fairly simple approach, which is setting the width of this box, or in this case of these two boxes, the box that's the first nav element and then the box that's the second nav element. So the way we can do that is by selecting this, and let's select this nav, site footer nav, and let's adjust some of the properties here. So we're going to have to use a CSS property called width, which we haven't used before. Let's open up a page really quick and take a look. CSS width, and we'll jump to the W3 Schools option. So it's pretty simple. You set the width and you can use any of the units that we've used so far, absolute or relative. And when you scroll down here, it says, note, the width property does not include padding, borders, or margin. Now by default, that's true, but that's something that we'll probably end up overriding later on by adjusting the box model using a property called box sizing. All right, so you can read the rest of this if you'd like at some point. I'm gonna close it. And what we'll do is set a size here. We'll set a width. And now we probably want to use a relative size here so that if the user increases the font size, these lines don't end up collapsing into multiple lines. So let's use REMs in order to make it relative to the base font size. Now again, the base font size is 16, and if we measured the width of these, we'd be at about 429 pixels. If we divided 429 by 16, we'd get about 27. So let's set the width to 27 REM, and if we look here, that looks pretty close. If we bumped it down to 26, it's even closer, 25, and they start overlapping. So 26 or 27 is good. I find that it's better to add a little bit extra in situations like this if you can. So I'm gonna go with 27.